War Pugs. Acme Boy posted the latest from SsethTzeentach, and we're going to check it out today. So this is the Matchless Kungfu review, Beggar edition. And to be frank, anytime I see something from Seth pop up, I'm going to click it. It's going to happen. It's gotten to the point where I just sit there some days. You guys will flood me with DMs in Discord, on live streams, everything like that. Let me know somebody has put something else out. Particularly, of course, Warrior Tier, I know they're going to post way in advance. Fan with too much time, which if you're a Star Wars fan or a 40k fan and you're not paying attention to a fan with too much time, you're doing yourself a disservice. Of course, Rubik's Raptor, but Seth, when he brings something out, oh God, I can't wait. We're going to jump into this. Let's have some fun. Here we go. The Matchless Kungfu review, Beggar edition.
Domain expansion, Immaculate Crack Rock. Domain expansion, Homeless Fist. Hey, disciples. Seth here. Let me tell you about a game that's transfixed and captivated me for the past many days. The Matchless Kungfu is an immersive sim that shows what life would be like if every man, woman, and child was trained in the martial arts. That is to say, life would not last very long. No. This game takes place in the genre of wuxia. This is Chinese sword fantasy fiction, but a little more grounded than some I've covered in the past. The game works like this. You play a world simulation where everyone has their own desires and motivation, which you expand by putting down plots of land. Right. These are pre-made areas containing a challenge. If you finish an objective, you can place more land, and you keep going until, inevitably, a Shaolin master breaks your spine. You're not expected to win from the first or second try. The actions you took in a past life will influence the next through karma, and you're not expected to understand any of this. That's why I don't have to explain to you why I began my journey drop-kicking roosters and fighting with a family dog. Nor do I have to explain to you this incredibly elaborate system of rock, paper, scissors that is combat, because the tutorial went over my head, but I've retained the knowledge non-verbally. And finally, despite being, at the time of this review, a complete demigod with perfectly harmonized meridians, I can confidently tell you, I have no idea what's going on. For being the product of RNG, my first Chinaman turned out looking okay. My very first quest was to beat the shit out of wine-stealing monkeys, only to find out animals can be tamed. Abilities vary between animals, but for the monkey, this was begging. The monkey can beg for money, which infuriates the local beggar, as I'm taking away from his local business. In this game, beggar is a profession, and just like doctors operate clinics, beggars operate churches. I was driven away and had to beg downhill instead.
Believe in that.
Then I got a quest to deal with some bandits. No problem, I thought, until I saw they were two women who could kill just by breathing on me. Luckily, my objective wasn't to defeat them, just burn down their camp. This was very easy because they took several naps while I was doing so, only stopping when I burnt down their mattress. So they left and started harassing the locals. As it turns out, one of the bandits had the charitable perk, which meant that she would rob the local store, beat up the owner, and donate all her savings directly to my monkey. I made a lot of money from the bandit monkey pipeline, and I found the constant brawls to be very entertaining, until it wasn't, and the store owner was dead on the floor. I realized I had to do something, or I was going to lose a lot more NPCs. I lured the two bandits into a non-lethal sparring competition, broke their strength, quickly rested, and jumped them again before they could recover. This bumped up my reputation, and I was offered a selection of different schools of martial arts. Naturally, I chose to join the drunken sect. Not only did I get a bunch of skills that are simple enough that even I can reliably combo, I also got informed that I had a secret admirer. Who, may I ask? Well, the person telling me. And just like that, I had a significant other. She sleeps on the floor. Sorry, honey. The bed is reserved for me and the monkey. As we lay together and pick lice out of each other's hair, our bond strengthens. Following cultivation tropes, you can attend auctions to bid on rare and expensive items. Every time someone makes a bid for an item or increases their bid, the other guests become more jealous. If you let this play out in the background in its entirety, everyone who went to the auction is now seething with hatred and will try to kill every other attendee. In this game, you don't get stronger.
That's finance for you.
From fighting. You get stronger by connecting shapes in the right order to activate inner kung fu. In my case, however, I got alcohol immunity. I didn't understand the value of this until I sat down for a drink and saw a small option to make a toast. I could forcibly drink someone under the table, and when they're passed out, I could kidnap their body and rob them blind.
There
which
you
is
go.
exactly what I did for the next hour, until everyone was running around in sub-zero temperatures in boxer shorts.
There you
Putting
go.
down enough normal plots lets you place special plots, such as towns. Soon as I entered, two men started bickering because one had slept with the other's wife. I
That usually causes a difficulty.
intervened against infidelity, but a little too strongly, because he was now dead. I sat down
that's
at the
bad.
bar to continue my drunken robbery when the same woman who committed adultery tried to seduce me. Honoring my beloved, I rejected her advances. So she threatened to kill me if I said no. And she did, because she's got 12k vigor.
So like real life.
I reloaded and tried to beg for forgiveness. Instead, she let me off lightly by breaking my legs. The irony of the
Damn!
situation is that she owned the town clinic and would help treat my crippling disability the next day. I lived a good life. I trained hard, and despite that, I am surrounded by sociopaths that could kill me on a whim. I hate this place. I'm gonna go parkour across water.
There you
Going
go.
far north in the map is how you get captured and imprisoned. This is
Okay.
not a bad thing. This is how you unlock your second and third character slots. As said before, you're not meant to win on the first try, or rather, you're not the main character. The protagonist of this story is your ancestors. Quick briefing on power levels. Everything is about vigor, which is how much punishment you can take. No
Okay.
matter how good you are at finessing the combat and exploiting meridians, your starting character's vigor will cap off at around 2k. So for reference, at your absolute peak, you are half as strong as a giant toad. How do we remedy this? Genetics. Much like a trailer park is much more of a gene pond than a gene pool, your choice of partner has consequences on your child's pedigree. You need to choose the right China man or China woman to chintegrate into your lineage. If you're the offspring of a sect leader, you're born with 2k extra vigor. That's nice, but we need to go even harder. There are
Okay.
many myths, many legends. In high school, we used to nipple cripple each other. If you're not familiar, that's where you grab both
I'm familiar.
nipples and twist painfully, usually in the changing room when they're most vulnerable. Until
Yes.
one of our friends told us that's how a kid got nipple cancer, because he got nipple crippled too often and it became a tumor. We knew the story was bullshit, but we were scared and we never did it again. Similarly, I heard tales
The amount of things that got ruined because of stupid rumors is just amazing. You can go down a list of things that got completely taken out by stupid rumors.
of people hitting 30k vigor, and I think I know how. Some call it intuition. I call it reading a guide on Steam.
There you
Karma
go.
are objectives you complete during life that allow you to take different blessings in the next. Our objective,
Okay.
pristine birthright, requires the following: 30 lovers, 30 grudges, or 1,000,000 gold. Gold is out of question, so I went with 30 grudges instead. For
Okay.
reference, the worst thing you can do to someone is destroying their kung fu. Understandably, beating someone so hard they forget how to move creates a lot of animosity. At
That generally would cause a problem on many levels, including family reunions.
first, I was non-lethal and just battled people, stole their kung fu, and locked them in a cage. This
Okay.
got problematic very quickly. I would imprison someone's mother, so their daughter would show up and start breaking the cage from outside, trying to rescue them. So I had to knock her out, put her in another cage, only to see the mother try to break out from inside to rescue her daughter.
Those are
Everyone
problems.
started bonding over their shared predicament, became friends, and tried to make a prison break. Eventually, it was too much, so I had to start taking heads. All I wanted was 30 enemies, but it seems now I'm going to need 30 body bags. This was a problem because I couldn't keep track of the people I killed and their relations to one another. I accidentally killed off someone's parent, only to find out their daughter had 12k vigor and was chasing me across the land. I died several times and had to reload. The only way I was going to survive was by friendship, and
Okay.
paying the master of my sect 1,000 gold to beat the shit out of her. As I took her head, I realized, why do I even need this karma quest when I have a small army that can finish the entire game? There
Yes.
are no words to describe the experience of combat when your fights are stacked 20 against 1, except
Yes.
incredibly fair. I thought I was invincible, but I flew too close to the sun. You see, slowly, over time, my army kept taking internal injuries, but
This is bad.
their AI wouldn't let them go to a clinic for treatment, and I didn't pay attention. Suddenly, some of them died, which caused their friends to blame me for their death, which forced me to fight them. But then, they died, and my other companions attacked me. My failure cascade was out
He had a Horus Heresy style incident. I see.
of control, and I died at the hands of my own men. I thought I was girl boss of this empire, but in truth, It was nothing but the boss baby. I looked back in the footage to figure out exactly where it all went wrong, and surprisingly, it wasn't inflicted injuries. No, what happened was I ate shit to see what happens, and I saw the animation, and I thought it was really funny. However, my dysentery gave me a stack of poison gas, which spreads from close contact. My army was exclusively in close contact, so
basically, Nurgle's rot spread to his army. Got it. Move it.
the cause of death of everyone, and myself included, was my own excrement. But it turned out I made enough enemies in this life that I finished my karma quest.
Yay!
Pristine Birthright gives you the single biggest power spike in the game, if you can actually use it. If I could figure it out, I'm sure you can too. In case you do this yourself, I found out I didn't actually need grudges, and I could have just marked 30 people as enemies. Turns out, force-feeding people shit, gouging out their eyes, and repeatedly breaking their legs was completely unnecessary, and says a lot more about myself. My unscrupulous actions would come to haunt me for my third character, as I start with ill fate, which means I'm more likely to be struck by lightning. I try to...
Someone consider that a superpower. Others, what do you consider your light source?
cheese the system by praying for rain and speedrunning life. Unfortunately, lightning only cooks you, so I tried dying to bandits. They refused to kill me as well. Instead, they put me in a cage and went to sleep. Occasionally, they would wake up and poison me before going back to sleep. This also failed to kill me. Frustrated, I ran to the Forbidden Palace, which is this game's version of a government. This is staffed by people who are referred to as an incomplete person, who are missing their precious treasure. This is a very Chinese way of saying they lost their penis. I could go on to explain how dynasties thought this would prevent nobles and public officials from seizing power because they
I don't understand that either.
They couldn't produce children.
Right.
But I digress. Anyway, I set fire to the palace, and I was promptly executed. And it was all for nothing because my negative karma was still there. Also, I found out Groin Kick has a chance to permanently crush your balls. Do with this information as you will. So, I made my fourth and final character. Supreme Genetics. Excellent karma. And you know what he does with it? Nothing. Because I unlocked Beast Tongue and can now tame infinite monkeys.
There you go. Now we have reached peak Zen. We will now go to the highest mountain.
Now, I have complete monopoly on the entire begging sector. This game is undeniably early access. The translations can range from English to absolutely esoteric, but the gameplay is so intuitive that I never felt like I was missing out. There is one exception to this. It's called verbal duels, and they're completely insane. This is the equivalent of an online debate, where the objective is to mentally break your opponent. Instead of vigor, you use spirit, and depleting someone's spirit will put them in hysteria, and hysteria can lead to death.
So basically you become a bard and chew out your opponents until they die. Awesome.
Game lets you troll someone to death. It's really hard to say which single
Mans is riding a chicken. Legit.
event in his sandbox broke me. Was it the time I went to the clinic for a broken leg, only for the doctor to forcibly throw me outside because it was 1 minute past his bedtime? Or was it my wife screaming at me for having an affair, as I have no option to explain to her that I have no relation to this giant black serpent, and it only holds feelings of intimacy for me because I implanted it with a love parasite? Since writing these lines, my world got flooded. I tried to swim north and got eaten by a great white shark. This came out of nowhere, so it scared the shit out of me. This was the worst jump scare I've ever had. I got crinkles in my diaper and was very afraid. So I'm giving this game a 0 out of 10. In all seriousness, if you're willing to put up with a lot of bad translation and want a sandbox where you can live out your power fantasy of killing everyone with your bare hands, then I thoroughly recommend it. For the price they're asking, I definitely got my money's worth. It's pleasant, it's charming, and there's a lot to explore, but I haven't had the time to cover. As always, more content to come, so stay tuned. This video didn't take that long. Many of my videos take very long, and even longer as time went by. Decision paralysis corrodes every content creator. However, my autism has been cured. Thank you, Lexapro, and most of all, thank you, Allah, for your glorious blessings each day. I have a couple ads this year. I got bills to pay, but I hope to make up for it with a garbage quality you know and expect. A warm thanks to the many members of a Merchants Guild generously funding and bankrolling these videos. You're all truly wonderful.
Okay, so seriously, I know what he's talking about with that, because with even though 40K is a huge area, I'll get to writing something and I just don't want to be writing it. I'd rather write about something else. And then I have situations like I have right now where I've been wanting to record for literal weeks now, my Mordian video. But I haven't recorded it because today is the first day where I actually have no dogs barking, nobody is asleep in the house, and nothing ridiculous going on outside at random where it'll mess up an audio file. So today I'm finally recording the Mordian video. Finally. I am so happy to be doing it, it's not even funny anymore. And then I get to dive into the editing, which is going to be great. Warpugs. This game actually looks like a bunch of fun. I'm pretty sure I'm going to show this to Val because I know she'd get a kick out of it. This game looks like a lot of fun, mainly because you can beat up chickens. I have seen games where you can assault chickens, but I've never seen one where you can full out John Wick a chicken. That's neither here nor there. Such a wonderful world we live in where games like this get invented where you can yeet a chicken and then ride it. I have nothing but approval for this. Warpugs. Check the links in the description down below for Seth's links. Most definitely. Check them out. You won't regret it. Check the links for mine too. Including the merch. Okay, so I have a new merch store. I made a couple of shirts. Everything looks good. A couple of glasses, things like that. All that kind of stuff. But that's neither here nor there. Warpugs, sit back, take it easy. And I hope you all have a good day. I'll catch you next time. Hit button.